Hello, my friend. Thank you so much for taking a few moments to join me today for this talk. I want to mention before I get into the material that at the end, once I'm finished speaking, I'll pause for just a moment or two and then I will lead you through a meditation. So you don't want to miss that. Stick around because really the meditation is the good stuff. It's sort of like dessert. This is your vegetables and your main course. It's all good. So thank you for joining me. I want to talk with you a little bit today about something that I think is so important and yet so incredibly challenging in our world right now, and that is how to stay present. Now, it's difficult to stay present when information in the world is constantly changing. It seems like just when we put our hopes on something, it changes and there's something new. And then that something new is so wonderful and so promising, and then it changes because there's something else. Do this. No, don't do that. We're being bombarded and overwhelmed, and we're all learning as we go. So it can be incredibly challenging to stay present, to feel confident, to feel comfortable, to have trust in riding these waves and in making our way through this storm. But I want you to know that we're doing it. We're making it through. We're coming together. We as humans have been on this planet for about 200,000 years. We've got a little experience under our belt. We've seen famines and wars and plagues and other pandemics, and it is in our DNA. It is in our heritage to come together, to innovate and to create and to see these things through. So I want you to know you're not alone, that we will get through this, and that day by day, when we stay present, we can really be open to the lessons, to the blessings, to the opportunities that are in this experience. So let's talk about how this all works and how we can stay present. I knew that I wanted to share a lesson about this because I believe with all my heart that it's extremely important. When we're too wrapped up in the past or we're too worried about the future, we become overwhelmed, discombobulated, it's easy to lose focus, and sometimes we can miss the good that's right there in front of us. So I believe it's important. And I didn't exactly know how I would formulate this talk or how I would present that information until I was at one of the most spiritual places that I go to, the grocery store. Yes, this Sunday lesson is brought to you by the grocery store. You see, a few weeks ago, I made my very first trip post-quarantine or during the quarantine to get groceries. Thanks to a little advanced planning and some wise preparation, I didn't need to go until we were a few weeks into this experience. So I truly didn't know what was in store for me as I gathered my groceries. But being dutiful and wanting to take good care, before I left for the store, I made a very long, very elaborate list. Now, mind you, this list wasn't exactly based on grocery items. It was really more based on what I read I probably might need, what I probably should have, what I ought to get, things that could come in handy just in case, and a couple things I'd never really heard of, but they sounded important, so I put them on the list. So basically, I had an apocalyptic shopping list that really wasn't coming from my heart, but from all the stuff that was out there. So I made my way into the store bearing this enormous list, and I soon was completely overwhelmed and really caught off guard by what was in there. People wearing masks, and everything felt very distant. And I immediately noticed that so much fear and anxiety and uncertainty and doubt seemed to be rushing towards me. And as I stood there, I actually froze. I didn't know if I should immediately leave because I really wanted to leave, but I knew there were things I needed, so I wanted to see it through. But I truly didn't know what to do, so I stood there in the produce department, frozen. Well, it was in that moment of complete surrender and being at an utter loss of my own understanding, Spirit intervened. Thankfully, graciously, wonderfully, Spirit intervened in the most perfect way. I was standing there not knowing what to do. And a song popped into my head. Now, this wasn't a song on Muzak or the overhead. It was something that just came into my head. And I believe that Spirit can communicate with us in that very way through songs we hear on the radio or lyrics that suddenly come to mind. Those synchronicities are not accidents, nor are they coincidence. It's divine intercession. So I'll tell you what that song was because it's the first step in learning to be present. But before I sing it for you, I'm going to sing, you have to do something. Wherever you are, wherever you're sitting, I want you to put your hand right out in front of you like this. Stretch it out at arm's length. And then take your other hand and stretch it out, but then put it off to the side like this. This is important. And then bring it back like that. Okay, so then take your hand and do the other side. So stretch out the side and then bring it back. You see, the song that came to me as I was standing there, frozen, was "Stop in the name of love." And I knew it was so powerful. I had the power right then and there to tell the fear, to tell the doubt, to tell the uncertainty, to tell the panic, stop in the name of love before you break my heart and make shopping difficult. Stop. That is the first step in being present, is just to tell all the stuff that you don't need, all the fears, all the doubts, stop. You don't belong here. So the reason I wanted you to put your hand out like that is because it's fun, get you a little exercise, it's a nice stretch. But if you look at this distance between your hand and your heart, this is sacred ground. I believe that anything that comes into this space, anything that comes past this stop hand, needs to be for your best interest and for your highest good. So if something is coming at you that feels painful, that feels untrue, that feels hurtful, stop in the name of love. You have the absolute right and the sovereignty to choose what comes into your sacred energy space. So if something is coming and it doesn't belong, immediately take a deep breath, remember the song, and stop. It's so easy to give away our power to what's out there and to start believing everything we hear and knowing what's true. When we can take a moment to just stop, take a breath, tune in, have a space, then we can make wise decisions. We can make clear decisions. We can be smart and stay safe, but we don't have to get lost in the shuffle and the uncertainty and the anxiety and the fear. So the first step, and maybe the most fabulous in staying present, is stop. Just stop. So I want you to do that. Hold your hand out and say, stop. It's very empowering, and it feels good to know that you don't have to let everything come in. And that means if you've had a habit of always doing something, it's never too late to stop. If you've allowed situations to work against you, stop. In this moment, you can start to breathe and choose differently. It is never too late to start when you tell the negativity to stop. I need to be present. This is sacred ground. So stop. That's step one. That step, when I heard that song and when I decided to stop, I realized that I wasn't alone, that there was Spirit with me, that love was all around me, and I stopped seeing it as me against, and I saw me and Spirit working together to support and to be present. But first I had to stop. So after I stopped, I had a moment to collect myself, and then I looked at my list. And I realized that so much of what was there was written out of panic, was written out of fear, was written out of lack, was written just in case. I should get this just because someone said I should. I had carried this enormous list that really wasn't necessary and certainly didn't come from me. And this wasn't serving. This is what happens to us in life. We carry around all the shoulds, all the what ifs. We hold on to something just in case. Well, this is what it's been in the past, so I better keep on keeping on. I've got to hold tight. And what I want you to know is the second step in staying present is just to drop all the stuff that no longer serves you, to trust and let go of the things that you don't need. Now, that's not to say that you don't plan or prepare, because that's important that we do that in our lives. We need to set goals. We need to have aspirations. We need to take steps in order to keep moving forward in our path. But what we don't need is to react, to get stuck in panic, to be scarce, or to be trapped in lack. It's not in our best interest to buy or to hold or to do something just in case, but it is all right to prepare and to trust and to do just enough to get to the next goal, just enough to get to the next week, just enough to get to the next moment if you have to. But instead of holding on to everything just in case, drop that and trust Spirit, because there's always enough. And when we're open to that, when we drop the fear and when we let go of the insecurity, suddenly the energy that had been invested in holding all this stuff becomes available to ask for help or to receive from a new opportunity, to be aware of something that we couldn't see before because we were so weighted down with all the just in case and should and could and used to and have to and always need to. Drop that and let it go. I truly believe that every situation that comes to us really contains a lesson. Sometimes the lessons are obvious to see, and other times the lessons may be a little less so. But when we can take the time, practice our spiritual principles, and take this lesson in, understand what it is, and then use it to activate wisdom, that's what we need to hold on to. The wisdom, the learning, the understanding, because that invites growth. And when we've grown, when we've learned these lessons, and when we've understood just how wise we truly are, we don't need to hold on to any of the stuff from the outside, because the answers, the wisdom, the creativity, the resources are there within. So every situation that comes to your life, look at it, lean into the lesson, trust the wisdom, and then drop the rest of the stuff, because you don't need it. And it truly is okay to let it go. So to be present, to learn to be calm, centered, poised, and on purpose in the moment, first we have to stop. This is sacred ground. Negativity, fear, stop. Then it's important that we drop all the frustrations, all the have-tos, all the regrets, all the guilt, all the things that weigh us down. We've got to give ourselves permission to drop those things so that we can breathe free, so that we can learn, so that we can expand in spirit, and so that we can grow. So we've got to stop, and then we've got to learn to drop the stuff that we don't need. And that's what I did in the grocery store that morning. I stopped, I took a deep breath. I looked at the list and I dropped the things that I knew I didn't need. And then I decided it was time to just roll with spirit, to get what I needed, to get what I wanted, to enjoy my time in the store. And I looked around and the store was so clean and the people there were so nice. And I knew we were in it together. Everything I needed was there. And suddenly, what was at first a very frightening and adversarial kind of an experience became a sacred opportunity to commune with other shoppers I may never have seen otherwise, just to bless them and to see them and to pray for them, but to be with them as I made my way through the aisles and grabbed the foods that I loved, a couple of things that I wanted, and some things that I knew I would need. I had the best time shopping because with spirit, I just learned to roll. And then as I went outside into the parking lot, the sun was coming up. The light was shining so beautifully. The colors looked rich. And I know that it wasn't much different than other sunsets, but I saw it differently. I was willing to see it and to experience differently than what I had before, because I'd stopped the fear and I dropped all the doubts, and I was able to just roll with spirit and see this beauty with newfound eyes and to love life like I had never loved life before. It was a beautiful, beautiful experience. And as I was standing there watching the sun, I realized I just want to dance with spirit. And if you've ever danced, you know that dancing is not marching. When we dance with life, it's not about forward, 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 forward. Dancing is about taking a step back, twirling around, doing a little sidestep, a cha-cha, a little shuffle here and there. And so maybe dancing isn't about covering a lot of territory. Instead, it's about experiencing a whole new ground. So I want you to remember that in life. When you're present, you can dance with life, you can roll with spirit, and suddenly you become aware of blessings and miracles, colors, sounds, things that you never would have noticed before. It is your moment. Spirit loves you. Spirit is waiting. A wonderful partner who knows all the steps. Spirit has all the right moves. It's time in our lives to roll with Spirit because we can trust and we are here to experience tremendous and wonderful good. So how can we learn to stay present? Well, first, it's stop. Just stop the negativity. Stop the doubt. Stop that stuff from coming in that no longer serves you. You have the right to say no, and you have the right to say yes. But stop. So you have that clarity and that space to choose. Stop. Then the next step is drop the heavy. Drop the guilt. Drop all the stuff that you've been dragging around that no longer serves you. Drop it so that you can feel light, so that you can breathe free, and you can choose what's in your best interest based upon what is in your heart and in your soul. Drop. And then after you've stopped and you drop, then you just dance, you roll with spirit, because life truly is a gift. And it is a sacred opportunity to be here right now at this time. It is so wonderful to be present in and of ourselves, not just for ourselves, but for one another. That's the reason I think being present is so important, is so that we can help our neighbors, so that we can be of comfort when we're needed, so that we can rise and offer whatever gifts we have to give, because we each have something wonderful, something necessary, something important to contribute to this world. And when you are present, you can give the presence of you, because that is so needed in our world right now. So it's easy to remember. It's kind of catchy. Maybe you've heard something along these lines before. But to be present, to really be here in this moment, to see life as a sacred gift that it is. Be present. Stop, drop, and roll. I think you'll remember that in a whole new way. Thank you for joining me. Again, I want you to know that your presence is the best gift of all. I believe that life is absolutely sacred. Every life, all life. And I know we're in this together, and I know we're going to see this thing through. I want to leave you with a final thought, and it's this: that life, despite its wild inconsistencies, with its triumphs and its tragedies, is a gift. Be open so that you may fully live. Thank you for being present with me today. I am so grateful. Namaste. So now, as I mentioned, I'd like to lead you through a meditation. Just a time to settle into spirit, time to be present for all the good that is right here. So I'd just like to invite you to get yourself comfortable, however that needs to feel or look for you. So just settle in. And this would be a great time to just close your eyes And take a quick moment, once again, just to settle in. Breathe. Let the breath flow in and feel the presence of spirit. And as you exhale, feel a deep sense of calm. Breathe in and feel the warmth, the breath of life, infusing you, revitalizing you, providing you with everything you need. And then exhale and let all the rest go. One more time, just breathe in the presence of spirit. Take in all the good. Receive hope. Feel that connection to life. And then exhale and settle in. Relax your shoulders. Soften your jaw. Where you are right now is exactly where you need to be. Let everything else just go. And I want you to imagine and picture, remember, just bring to your mind's eye the beautiful meadow with trees, some fresh spring flowers. And in this meadow, as you're walking, you notice that just ahead there's a beautiful stream of water. You can hear it first. You hear the rushing sound, the babbling, the splashing, the unmistakable sound of the water. You follow the sound and see crystal clear water flowing through this stream. And alongside the bank of the stream are some rocks, some soft spots. And you decide to sit down next to the water just for a few moments. Just enjoy your time in nature. And so you sit down. The earth is soft and it smells so rich. You can hear birds off in the distance. But you look down and you see this water. It's so crystal clear. It looks so refreshing. It looks so inviting that you decide just to dip a little bit. Maybe it's dipping your fingers. Maybe you decide to dip your toes, but dip into the water. And it feels so good, so relaxing. And you let the stream just pass over you, moving, flowing, playing, clearing, cleaning. The water feels so good. The river of life, the flow of abundance. All that is good flows to you. Feel that as you dip into the water. Then you decide to sit back down because you notice that the sun is out. So you pull yourself back from the water, stretch your arms out, close your eyes and look up and just let the sun shine on your face. It feels warm. It feels rich. It feels like love. And as you receive that warmth, you feel a deep sense of home, a wonderful sense of connection. And so for the next moment or two, bask in that light and feel home. The light is so warm. Now in the distance, once again, you can hear the birds softly singing, each its own special, unique tune. And then a breeze suddenly billows through the trees, whisking around. And it's so quiet and so peaceful. You seem to hear the wind say, "You are loved." The softest whisper, carried on the breeze. You are loved. You are loved. Feel that. Be present to all these gifts. You are loved. Beautiful child. You are sacred. You are loved. And in a moment, when you're ready, slowly, gently, you can open your eyes. Settle back. Be present. Right here. Right now. I want to thank you again for taking time to be with me and to share with me. I'm truly grateful for your presence. You are a gift to this world. Namaste.